Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to the Matt Ridge's Davidson-Davie Community College Coaches Show. I'm Miles Poole. This is Coach Ridge here beside of me. We've got Brandon Mullis on the camera tonight, Patrick Stevens doing our board work, coming to you live from Brinkley Gym on the campus of DDCC, and we're excited to bring you. This is our sixth show of the year, man. This year is clicking by, Coach. We'll talk a little bit about the last 6 games that we played. I know you guys have been really, really busy over the course of the last few weeks. We're going to look ahead to see how things are shaping up as we head into the holiday break. And we've got some special treats tonight. First of all, our special guest is Dr. Jonathan Brown. We're excited to have Dr. Brown back with us. It's been a little while. And then for our player interviews, we've got Tyler Johnson and Barron Williams. So going to be a lot of fun. Coach, we're excited to kick the show off.
I'm excited for tonight as well for many reasons. It has been a busy several weeks, had some success on the court. These guys have grinded out some tough wins, and glad to have Dr. Brown make some time to come by and be on the show.
Well, we are 9-1, 4-1 in conference play. We're second ranked in the nation, right behind South Suburban College. We're tied for first in Region 10 play with Fayetteville Tech and Lewisburg College, all at 4-1. So that's kind of where we stand right now. But let's talk about the last 6 games because, like you said, it's been a busy stretch of games, a lot of big wins, close wins, exciting wins. The first one we'll talk about is, let's go back to November 19th. It's been a while ago. Had a game against Bryant and Stratton. The Patriots hung tough with you guys, I think, for a period, and then you pulled away in the final 20 minutes to come out with an 80-61 victory. What were some of the things that you were able to do in this contest to come away with that conference road win?
Well, Miles, we have 12 defensive goals every game as a team, and I think that game had achieved 8 of those, I believe, if my memory serves correct. And we've never lost a game if we get 8 or more of the 12D goals. We held them at 61 points. One of our goals is to hold them below 65. So I was really proud of our commitment throughout those 40 minutes. To hold a team of Bryant Stratton's caliber to 61 speaks volumes of our commitment on that end. We did have a couple of post players, Jacob Moore, Najee's kind of a wing/forward. They both had huge games. I believe Najee finished with a double-double, 15 and 15, and Jacob had around 26 points, if my memory serves correct. But really proud of how we rebounded the ball that game. I think we out-rebounded them by 15 or so.
Well, you talk about rebounds. One of the stats that really jumped out to me in that ball game is Brian and Stratton was only able to grab 4 offensive rebounds the whole ball game. That's a key stat. Talk about the importance of that.
Well, a lot of times people ask me, what do you do to get your guys to rebound? So well, what drills do you do? And really, to be honest with you, we only do a few rebounding drills. It's just something we emphasize, and we try to recruit kids that take pride in that in terms of blocking out and rebounding. There has been a few games this year, and we'll talk about them tonight probably, where we didn't rebound the ball out of our area. But that particular game against Bryant Stratton, our guys were playing incredibly hard. Not blocking out every time like we should, but going to get the ball, not waiting for the ball to come to them and rebounding it with 2 hands out of their area.
Well, good win to start that part of November. Then we had a big weekend right here at Brinkley, the 25th and 26th. We had the inaugural Davidson-Davie Thanksgiving Classic. You had Montgomery College in here. You had Gaston College, who we've seen earlier in the season, and then the 6th-ranked Hawks. They were 6th ranked at the time, Henry Ford. So good group of talented teams coming in here to play in that tournament. The first game, let's talk about that one. So you played Montgomery College. They came in here. They had a 1-4 record, but better team than a 1-4 record. They played a lot of stiff competition. What were some of the things you were focused on heading into that matchup?
We know Montgomery College well. We played them last year and barely beat them in Brinkley. and we invited them back, and they jumped at the opportunity. And I knew going into the game, like you said, Miles, that they were much better than their record. They had played big-time competition. They've had a bunch of injuries, much like the Storm this year. So I didn't know who would be dressing for them for sure, but we knew going into the game they would be a tough team in which to play. They're well coached and very talented. I thought our guys did a good job of not looking at their record and saying it's going to be an easy win. I thought we grinded one out, didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but we did hang our hat on the defensive end and got enough stops to get out here with a big win.
Well, you led 39-36 at the break. In the second half, I thought your defense really stepped up.
Yeah.
You held the Raptors to 18 points in the second half. What were some of the differences defensively in the second half for you?
Transition D. We did a much better job playing with a sense of urgency, picking up, stopping the ball by the volleyball line, things we emphasize every day to our guys, just playing with more of a sense of urgency on not just on the ball but off the ball. I thought our rotations were great, and we finished possessions with block out and rebounding, which is one of the most two important things about playing D is keeping the ball in front of you and rebounding the ball out of your area.
You also had a pretty big advantage in that game from the charity stripe. I think 26 of 30 from the free throw line versus 17 of 25 for Montgomery. Talk about your ability to get to the free throw line in this game and the ability to hit, I think, 87% of those.
You know, we're all a product of where we've been, who we've been around. And Coach Smith, when I was at Carolina, always emphasized one of the most important stats is free throw attempts. We'd like to make more than our opponents shoot. And in that particular game, we did a great job of getting the ball inside in a variety of ways, not just off the bounce, but throwing the ball into Jacob and Najee and Trey and, you know, all of our post players. And then rebounding the ball, getting the offensive rebounds is the only way in basketball to get more possessions than your opponent. And so those are things that we constantly are emphasizing, holding our players accountable to, because basketball is a game of habits. And if you're habitual about crashing the boards relentlessly, you got a much better chance to put yourself in position to win games.
Well, we capped off the Thanksgiving Classic with a big game the next day on Sunday, and that was a rematch of last season's thrilling 110-102 overtime win in that maybe double overtime. Was it double overtime?
It was double overtime.
In the national tournament with Henry Ford College. This game would also go into overtime, so that's becoming a thing between you guys. Give us your thoughts on this matchup with the Hawks.
Well, it's, if not the most talented team we've ever played, certainly one of the top five. You know, their backcourt is insanely talented. They both, the starting point guard and two, has signed Division I scholarships. But really, 1 through 8, they have Division I types, you know, if not Division I, certainly high-level Division II players, NCAA. 6'6", through 6, you know, they're all 6'6" to 6'8", except for their point guard. They all can shoot it at an extremely high clip, and they share the ball. They're a difficult team in which to prepare for because they're so good off the bounce, and if you overhelp just the slightest bit, since they're 6'6", they're able to knock down those threes. I mean, the day before we played them, they played Gaston, and they hit 11 threes, as you saw in the first half. And we'd already had that scouted, but you know, they can flat out shoot it. They were, I think, 8 of whatever at halftime versus us. We did make a few adjustments of things that I'm not super comfortable with off the ball, but we did it, and it helped us, I think, control a little bit more of contesting those threes. I think we held them to 4 made threes in the second half in overtime, which was big. Our kids did a great job of doing something that we don't emphasize off the ball to try to contain, you know, not letting them get such clean looks.
Well, speaking of threes, we hit some threes too. I mean, DJ Suggs opened the ballgame with a three-point shot, if I remember right. He had 26. His biggest three-pointers came at the end of regulation, and then he hit the big one at the buzzer, a 92-91 win. But he wasn't the first choice on that play. That wasn't what you guys were going to.
No.
I think you tried to get the ball inside the more. Walk us through that last 13 seconds.
So it was a sideline out-of-bounds play, something we run a lot. We had been successful during that game, like most games. We threw the ball into DJ, and he threw a very ill-advised, poor post-entry pass off balance. The guy put, you know, pretty good pressure on him, and the ball was deflected. And Jacob Moore had an awareness to chase down the loose ball. I think he tipped it to Mike Wade, who threw it to Aiden Taylor. And, you know, this is nothing Matt Ridge had zero to do with. DJ Suggs had enough awareness to set a fake ball screen, something that's like sort of like a fake ball screen where you act like you're going to set a ball screen and you keep running. And fortunately, DJ's man trapped Aiden. Aiden made the right play, and he was wide open and knocked it down at the buzzer.
I think if you go back and you look at that play in slow motion, just the spacing, you guys. I mean, everybody in the right place, and you're right. I mean, when Aiden drove to his right and they double teamed him, I don't know how he turned and got the ball back to DJ, but DJ sunk it with I think like 0.1 second left to go in the game.
Well, the biggest thing was DJ had the awareness to set the go screen. And then the poise of Aiden, like you said, to make the right play at the right second whenever DJ's man trapped him. The kids didn't freak out mentally and panic. They had a lot of poise, and that's the thing that I think I was most proud of. Aiden didn't drive in there out of control, trying to be the hero. He made the right play. But if you go back a couple plays before that, if Tyler Johnson doesn't hit that floater, we're not even in position to hit the game winner. So Tyler's shot I'll remember probably as much as DJ. I know most people may not because the emotion of DJ hitting the game winner, but Tyler hit a tough shot to tie it up. I don't know if you remember that, but
I do, yeah.
that was a huge shot for us as well.
So big win over a quality opponent. Great to have those kind of games early in the season because that's going to prepare you down the road for a tournament time if we get there.
You mean when we get there?
When
right?
we get there, okay. Sorry. So I use that if word. Give us your thoughts on that first DDCC Thanksgiving Classic.
Well, it was a huge success, and I'm not just talking about in terms of what we did in terms of winning the games, but to have these types of events, we have to generate some funds. It costs a lot to have a home game, but to have 2 home games for 2 days in a row, we have to pay for all the referees, game day workers, 2 games, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so obviously the sponsorships that we have help us do that. But we had 2 extra sponsorships for this event. Trey Field's father, who owns a food truck, helped us with the hospitality room. And then the barbecue center down here also gave us some food for the hospitality room. So we certainly appreciate that. Just little things like that from people that help us make those things possible because of the athletic budget. We're not able to use state funds as we were talking about before the show started tonight. Those things help us tremendously.
So if we've got any sponsors out there, we'll get in touch with Coach Ridge here at the school, and we can try to make this a tradition go forward. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. DJ Suggs says shout out to Jake Moore. So DJ listening. Dan Truey's watching. Manuel Teague is watching. Candace, your wife, watching as well. Reminder, if you want to chat with us on Facebook, ask the coach a question or any of our guests or players a question, you can do so. We'll try to track it here.
DJ better give a shout-out to Aiden Taylor, who threw in the ball for that knockdown 3.
He did. Nice job, Aiden. All right, so our next game, we'll move away from the Thanksgiving Classic. Next game, tough game on the road in Fayetteville against Fayetteville Tech. These games are always close. You trailed 36-32 at half, not something you're accustomed to, but you ended up winning by 4. What were the keys for you in this close conference win against the Trojans?
Well, we knew going into the game that it would be a difficult game in which to prepare for because Coach Hurd does an absolute amazing job scouting us. He gets his kids to play at an extremely high level in terms of their intensity and their passion. I mean, they didn't have, other than one kid, a lot of height, but they out-rebounded us. And you can imagine how that didn't sit real well with me. There wasn't a whole lot of paint left on those walls after halftime. They had a player 6'3" that had 13 rebounds at halftime, 7 of which were offensive rebounds. And we got athletes out there like Jacob Moore, Trey Fields, Frank Stockton. I mean, we got guys that should be, we felt like, rebounding at a high level, and we just weren't. We were waiting for the ball to come to us and not rebound the ball out of the area, which I've said several times tonight already. So I had a very difficult time accepting that as a coach, that I felt like Coach Hurd's team was playing harder than us. But you have to tip your hat to Coach Hurd. He gets his kids every year to play the same way with the same purpose and passion. So I knew going to the game, we had been winning, and everybody patting us on the back, and we're getting ranked. All those things, I think, as a coach, I guard against to make sure our kids are staying humble and hungry and continuing to get better. And then we go down there, and we're not playing our best ball and not playing as hard as our opponent. At halftime, I was not a happy camper. But we did come out of the locker room with more passion, more intensity, more sense of urgency. We went on a 6-0 run to start the second half, and then from there it was kind of back and forth. Fayetteville Tech did take the lead late, and once again I was super proud of our kids to have the poise whenever they did take the lead. Ethan English had a huge drive and bucket. It was an and one, and then from there we got a few stops. Kobe Parker hit a couple big-time free throws.
Well, we stay on the road and we head to Chapel Hill. So you get to go to the Dean Dome to play against the UNC JV team next. How big of a deal do you think it is? And you've played in that gym. How big of a deal it is for the Storm players here to play in that historic venue?
I mean, we'd have to ask them, but if it's half as big a deal to them as it is me, it's a huge deal. I for 4.5 years got to go to the Smith Center and either practice as a player or be a student assistant coach. And it was just a dream come true to be a very, very small part of the Carolina basketball family to this day. I take a lot of pride in being a part of it, not just from the 4.5 years I was there, but the relationships that I developed while I was there. The David Neals, the Phil Fords, the Dave Hanners, et cetera, that to this day are friends of mine that have helped me evolve, not just as a coach, but as a person. So I think the kids, a few of them commented about how big of a deal it was to them. I hope they enjoyed it. I hope it's something they'll remember, especially since we were able to come out with the dub. But, it's a great opportunity for our kids to be able to do that.
57-50 win. You were able to build up a big 13-point lead at the half, but the Tar Heels made it. I guess you call them they are the Tar Heels, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they're still the Tar Heels. They made it a much closer game in the second half. I think they held you guys to like 19 points. What were the differences between that first and second half?
We got good looks. We just missed them. For whatever reason, the ball didn't go in the basket. I mean, we were missing 3-footers, 2-footers, layups, wide open threes. And for some reason recently, I can't tell you why. I wish I could figure it out. The last few games, Carolina, and then last night against Catawba Valley, for whatever reason, we're not making shots in the second half. It's a make-or-miss game. And if you want to be confident, then get your butt in the gym and get more shots up.
Yeah, you shot 36% from the floor, 31% from three-point range, 56% from the free throw line in that game. Does the big arena, the depth perception, does that have anything to do with maybe some of that?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, we talk about it. Just like Catawba Valley's gym, there's more space behind the goal. I do think it's different. Now, whether or not that affects their shot, I don't know. Potentially, it's something we did address. We try to get them there early to get up as many shots before the game as possible to get used to it. But, if you look at both Catawba Valley last night and especially at Chapel Hill, we shot the ball really well in the first half at Carolina. I think we were 7 of 12 from 3 at halftime. So we were capable. We got shooters. Yeah. And my big thing is shot selection. If you take good shots and you got great shooters as a coach, that's all you can ask for. And in the second half, Miles, at Carolina especially, we were missing point range 2-footers and 3-footers. And so, I'm not mad at the kids for missing 2 and 3-footers. Obviously, I'd like for the ball to go in, but the shot selection was good.
Yeah. All right, so last night, you, again, another road win, this time at Catawba Valley, 111-97, high-scoring affair. You had, again, a tough time shooting from three-point range. I think you were like 13%, 3 of 23, but you made up from that for that shooting, poor shooting from the free throw line. I think you guys 38 of 43, 88%. That's phenomenal. Over a third of your points came from the free throw line. The Redhawks also went to the line a lot, 42 times. They were only 29 of 42. Are the games with Catawba typically that physical? I mean, there's a lot of free throws.
Yeah, in general, we tell our kids Catawba Valley is going to be one of the more physical teams we play all year, and they were again last night. I was super proud of how we shot the ball from the line. It's something we've been emphasizing a lot and getting the kids more shots and more reps in practice, so it was good to see that carry over. The missed threes, I can't explain. I mean, most of them were good looks. We just didn't make them again last night. And again, we encourage our guys and pretty much tell them you need to get your tail out of bed in the gym and get up shots. They have the availability to get in our gym as early as 6:30 in the morning. So hopefully some of our guys will take more advantage of that going forward. But as long as the shot selection is good and the right guys are taking the threes, I'm great with it.
So Catawba coming into the game, pretty high-scoring team. They averaged right at 90 points a ball game. They put 97 up on you guys last night, most of those in the second half. 66 points in the second half, 33 points for them coming off of points off turnovers. I know you guys were happy with the win, but you were not happy about those stats.
Now, the second half, we were not very good, especially offensively. And the reason I say that, other than the fact that we did put up whatever we put up, 40-some points, we had a ridiculously number of careless turnovers. And most of those turnovers, Miles, led to transition layups or transition buckets of one form or another. So, to me, some of our careless turnovers were four-point turnaround, because instead of us getting a shot, they're getting a layup on the other end. Those are four-point turnarounds. So if you think of 4 or 5 of those throughout the game, that's a 20, 24-point, 25-point turnaround.
Yep.
In the first half, we were doing that. We were turning them over. We were getting layups. In the second half, they weren't really pressing us hard. They did press us a little bit, but we were just turning the ball over, not just in the back court, but the front court.
Well, those games bring us current to date. So with that, we'll take a break and we'll bring up our special guest. We've got the Vice President of Workforce and Development here, Dr. Jonathan Brown, going to come up.
Legendary Dr. Jonathan Brown.
Okay.
Mr. Davidson County. Been principal. I played against him in high school. He used to kick my butt on the basketball court.
Hey, Mark Beck's chiming in. Great win last night, and we'll get to some of these other comments as we move through. DJ coming in again. Shout out to both of my boys. Wouldn't have won it without them. So he said facts. Welcome, Dr. Brown. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Miles.
Good to see you. So for Storm fans, Dr. Jonathan Brown currently serves as the VP of Workforce and Development here at the school. Before we talk basketball, which I know we like to do, share with our listeners a little bit about your background as well as your role and responsibilities here at the college.
So as Coach Ridge was saying, I served 25 years in Davidson County Schools as a teacher, coach, administrator. Loved every stop. Was very fortunate to work at 4 great high schools and wouldn't trade it for the world, but had an opportunity to come to the college back in 2020 and just couldn't pass it up. So it's been a very fulfilling career. And I will say, Coach is totally wrong. I think they beat us by like 30, 40 points every time we played them. So he was the player. I was just the guy on the courts. And my dad did find some old tapes from high school, but there's one problem.
What's that?
They're all VHS, and I don't think we have any more around, so I don't know if we're going to be able to watch them to really get the facts out. But and then here now, as you said, I'm over workforce development, so I work real close with the business and industry in our community, also over continuing education. So short-term workforce development is real big right now for us.
You came at a time right before COVID broke, right before the pandemic, and you've got to go out and work with the public and the businesses and stuff. That had to be quite a challenge, I'm sure.
It was very challenging because a lot of people weren't taking meetings and
right.
everything. We were transitioning from face-to-face, I'm going to talk to you, to the Zoom world. I probably don't do well with Zoom. I'm more of a extrovert than an introvert, so I like to be with people and talk to them, and you can really judge and see body language, obviously, when you're there. And sometimes if you got a blank screen, it's hard to tell.
So what kind of initiatives, if you can share with us, are you and your team working on currently for the college?
So currently right now, with all the industry that's coming into Davidson County, we've been very fortunate in the last 5 years. Eggerwood Products over in Linwood came. They're currently getting to go through another expansion. In the last year alone, Nucor Steel, Fortune 500 company, or 100 company, right down the road here on 64 is looking to open next summer. And then we had Siemens Mobility, which is also coming to Lexington on Brown Street. Same thing, looking to open up. So we've had a tremendous amount of industry come in. Just had an announcement last week. Another company coming in, it's an EV pouch for batteries. I think they're here probably to support the mega site in Randolph County with Toyota coming in. So we've had a tremendous amount of business and industry that are coming to us, and now it's our responsibility to train and produce the workforce. So one of our big initiatives now is working real close with economic development and their board to try to, produce that sustainable pipeline of employees for our community.
And it's probably a little challenging because those requirements, they're different. The business has changed, so the requirements that you have to meet out in the community certainly are evolving, right?
Very, very dynamic, changing all the time, and it's from company to company. So, even in our advanced manufacturing field, if I'm working with one company, we may be working on producing maintenance technicians, and then it may be the engineering side, or it could be the machining, it could be welding. So it's very vast, which I enjoy because no day is the same, and I love that.
25, 30 years ago, it would have been furniture, right? And
That's it. That's funny you said. I was talking about that today, sitting at lunch with Coach Ridge and some of the gang, our lunch gang that we talked. I said, I worked at Lexington Furniture when I was in college, and I knew real quick. I was in the finishing room when it's 100 degrees and you're sitting there wiping off stuff. I knew I wanted to sit behind a desk or at least be out on the field coaching. That's my mom told me when I came home. I'll never forget it. I was after my freshman year. I probably walked in the door, and it wasn't even 30 seconds. And she looks at me and she says, "You got a job?" And I'm like, "Slow down, overachiever. I just got home. I haven't even unpacked." But that instilled a work ethic, and if I wasn't at school, you're going to be working. So,
well, I got a question for you, Dr. Brown. How do athletics here at the school, I'm curious, help build the strong engagement and relationships you need with our community in the industry and businesses? I mean, do they
absolutely
help with that?
Absolutely. It's real important, especially with a tight-knit community like we are both in Davidson and Davie County. We're still considered rural, but we're big, but not too big, but not too small. So it does help, especially when we have a team that has a brand name that competes year in, year out for a national championship. It's easy when I go out and I start talking to people and I say, "Hey, I'm with Davidson-Davie," and they say, "Oh, how's the basketball team doing? Or how's the volleyball team doing?" So, that definitely helps, and it helps build that sense of community. And I think you see that when you come to one of our games.
Yeah. So let's talk basketball now, if you don't mind. How much time do you get to spend watching both of the athletic teams here at the school?
I get to watch them a lot of this year, all streaming. I haven't had an opportunity to make a game, but last night I was a little frustrated because the Wi-Fi started messing up in the second half. But, I do like to get out when I can and watch them play, but we've had too many road games. That's the problem right now. We need to be home in Brinkley.
Well, 8 of our last 11, I think, are here, which is great. So historic, the volleyball team had a great season this year, but let's talk basketball now. Historic, you look back at this program, and it's amazing.
Absolutely.
What we've accomplished here. This program it's an elite program. There's no question. What is it about it that makes it so successful year after year after year?
Well, I think you have to give a lot of credit to Coach Ridge, and I think it's the culture and the tradition that he has built. When these guys come in, they know you've got to bring it, and you've got to come to play because they are high expectations, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I jokingly say this to Coach Ridge all the time, it's, national championship or bust. But I think you have to have that standard if you're ever going to get there.
So I'm going to ask you this question. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. This has been a path historically for young student athletes to further their education and playing careers at four-year schools. Do you still follow their playing career after they leave here?
Absolutely. It's great. You can go back, and I try to follow just since I've been here, Javion. I saw that Zai was named like the player of the month at Converse this week, had 26 points this week. Jaheim and Chase are having a great year over LR. LJ, I was asking Coach this afternoon about Keith Reese and Aaron Ross and, at Chowan. So definitely do follow them and try to keep up. And it's good to see those guys, having a good season and being the guy at that next level too.
Yeah, that's pretty special. So what are your thoughts on this year's team? Some of the guys sitting over here.
So, I think we've had a great start. Like Coach would say, we got to take care of the basketball. I think any coach would say that. Sometimes I think we let our head get in the way. We got to control our emotions. Last night, that's too many technical fouls. We've got to ring that in, and we've got to be smarter than that. But I always like the effort. That's the one thing in the time I've been here. We go out and we play. And we play hard. And, some nights shots are going to go in. It's going to go through the bucket a little bit easier. But when they're not, we find a way. And that's the one thing, that I just admire the most about these teams is they find a way at the end of the night to win the game. And, as a former coach, I used to say, I don't care how we get it done as long as we get it done.
Right.
As long as we got more than they do, we can handle it.
W's a W. So did you get a chance? Were you here for the Thanksgiving Classic?
So, unfortunately, I was down at Pinehurst. Probably should have, considering my golf game. But did follow it, got text, did keep up with it, but great ball game. I did tell Coach when I got back, I said, I'm coming to your office, I got to watch the game. So he broke it down and gave me the highlight and the Cliff Notes version, so I did get to see most of the game.
All right, so what did you think of the last 13 seconds?
It was unbelievable. Just a great college basketball game, back and forth, huge atmosphere, people were going crazy, and at the end of the day, DJ knocks down just a dagger, and those are moments that you'll remember forever.
It's fun to see a game here, a competitive game like that, when this place is packed. I mean, there was not an empty seat in the gym, and if I look back at the record here at Brinkley, I mean, we're in 244-19, so almost 93% win percentage in 16 plus years.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's the best in the country. Talk about that atmosphere. I mean, why do you think it's so tough for a team to come in here and beat the Storm on this court?
Well, again, I think that goes back to the early years of coaching them, laying that foundation, that when teams come in here, they know that record. And that sits with you psychologically. I don't care what you say. They know it's going to be a tough place to play. I think the environment, when we pack it, everybody's on top of you, so it feels twice as loud than it really is. And then more importantly, I think our guys know that, we've got to protect our home court and we don't lose here. So there's a little bit of psychology that goes into that too.
Yeah, pretty special. Mm-hmm. So I know you traveled with the team up to Danville for the national tourney a couple times. And I know those games are big, but in the time that you've been here, do you have a favorite Storm memory?
Well, I do, and I'm going to go back to Danville last year because unfortunately, I had to fly in late and I missed the first game. I had a conference that I had to attend. So when I got there, we played and unfortunately got beat. And, our players were devastated. And I just remember coaching them talking about, all right, how are we going to finish? And, I tell, as a former coach, I tell students and players all the time, it's easy to do it when everything's going well. But when you face a little adversity, that's going to show, your true character. And they did. They came out, they won the next game, and then we had that fourth game with Henry Ford, and that was one of the best moments because, double overtime, they're hitting shots, we're hitting shots, back and forth, and we, again, found a way to win. And I think that's just a testament to the character of the kids that are in our program, our coaching staff who works very hard, and I couldn't have been more proud that night sitting in the gym. For me, it was like we won the national championship.
Yeah, that was the best game in the tournament, by the way, too. So, final question for you, Dr. Brown. If you're a young player listening or watching the program tonight, what would be a reason or reasons for them to look here at DDCC to further their education and playing career?
Well, first and foremost, we have we're a great institution of higher learning. Statistically, I'll brag on our school. We're always in the top 5 or top 3. 2 years ago, we were number 1 by the metrics that, the state uses to judge us when it comes to graduation rate, retention in the first year, et cetera. So we have a great academic reputation. Number 2, how could you not want to come here to play basketball? You're going to compete at the highest level. You're going to have opportunities to, go on and play more at a four-year school. It's just a great atmosphere. I think we have a community setting. Our instructors, our staff, I can't say enough to how they buy into the program. Our maintenance department is great. And, Coach Ridge and I have lunch with them all the time, and they're our biggest fans. Keith and Ernest and Michael and Willie, they feed on it. So it's just it's that community spirit and that atmosphere that's created because of Coach Ridge and the team.
Well, we appreciate you
Yes,
coming
sir.
tonight for the show, and thanks for your passion for the school, for
Absolutely.
these young men here. Dr. Jonathan Brown. Yeah, let's hear that. So now let's bring in Tyler Johnson. Tyler, step on in here. Tyler, 6'4" guard forward, if you will, out of Douglas High School in Mississippi, I think, right?
No, sir.
No?
Douglas is in Memphis.
Douglas in Memphis.
Born in Mississippi.
But you were born in Vaughn.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 15 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks per game during your senior season in high school.
Yes, sir.
Early this season, you're coming in, you're making a really good contribution, 5.8 points a ball game, 4 rebounds a game. Talk a little about, Tyler, if you will, the transition moving from high school ball to playing junior college ball for an elite program like the Storm.
Well, I knew mentally I had to prepare for it because I know it's going to be a big jump, especially for a program like this and playing for a coach like Coach Ridge. I know I was going to have to work hard, and stay on the court.
So as you started thinking about where you wanted to play next, what led you to Davidson-Davie? How did you come to choose this place?
Because I came down here for an open gym. My coach, he brought it to my attention about the school, about the record. I came down here. I liked the coach. I talked to players and stuff. It felt like a family and like a good community.
Well, I had a chance to see both of the games here in the Thanksgiving Classic. I thought your best games of your collegiate career so far in your young career. I think you had 11 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals, and 24 minutes of play against Montgomery in the first game. And then in that overtime win at Henry Ford, 13 points, 2 rebounds. I thought the best thing you brought was your energy. Man, you brought a ton of energy that I thought helped carry the team both nights. Talk about your play in those 2 wins.
Yes, sir. Coach Ridge, he gave me opportunity. I just have to go out there and capitalize on it. And I know one of the biggest things I bring to this team is my energy, and my effort and then hustle.
So what were your thoughts as you were watching that last 13 seconds of the Henry Ford game?
I really wasn't nervous. I knew my guys. I know Aiden had the ball. And then so I knew he was going to come out with the win. I knew he was going to make the best play.
So let me ask you, Tyler, what strengths do you bring to this team? What do you think your strengths are here?
Well, most definitely, as we talked about, my energy, effort, hustle, and just, being a team player, and that's really it.
So I got a question here. I was told to ask you this, and then I was told not to ask you. I'm going to ask you. Ask you about your practice routine, what it looks like outside of the normal practice. Are you getting in a certain number of shots per day? You run, you lift, you film study? I mean, what does it look like?
Well, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I try to get a good lift in, and then, I be in the gym sometimes.
Are you supposed to? Are you trying to? Do you want to do 1,000 shots a day? Is that what?
Yeah, that's the goal. But I didn't get there probably about once.
Okay, all right. So you got some work yet to do, right?
Yes, sir.
What's it like playing for this gentleman sitting over to your right?
Oh yeah, I love him. He very encouraging. He love the game. He breathe the game. So it's good being a player for him because he real into it, and then he want us to work hard. He gonna bring out the best in you.
Let's talk about these guys here to our right, too, your teammates. How do you think the team is coming together so far this year?
Oh yeah, I think we doing good. You know, we got a lot to build on though, cause we still got some young core. We got a bunch of talent. You know, anybody can start any day, and you feel me? They're my brothers.
Other than 1,000 shots a day, what are some things that you feel like you need to improve on?
Well, my right hand.
Okay, all right. What about your goals after you leave DDCC?
Oh well, my goals after I leave is to go to a 4-year, you know, get like a degree for agriculture and science and something like that, so I can go on into the real world. Probably do something that got to do with farming or something like that.
Before you get to that, what about goals for this team this year? What do you got?
Oh yeah, my goals for this team definitely big. Get that ring, you know, for us to keep coming together as a team, keep working hard, and then build day by day.
Get in the gym and get those shots up.
Yes, sir.
Question for you, just the last question. I always like to ask this one. Do you have any kind of pregame rituals that you go through, and do you have a nickname?
No, I don't got no pregame rituals. I just chill, turn up with the team. That's it. And then, definitely don't got a nickname. Just Tyler.
All right, just Tyler. Okay, well,
Yes,
Tyler
sir.
Johnson, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Nice job. Tim Gwillem says Tyler has been a great addition to the Storm. Tim, I agree. I'm not going to say what DJ said. I'll share that with you later. Let's see. Brandon Candace says, Coach, what's the one key to culture building? We'll talk about that in just a little bit. All right, so Baron Williams coming in now. Baron, 6-foot guard out of Clayton, North Carolina, Cleveland High School, transferred from Lewisburg College.
Yes, sir.
So we'll talk a little bit about that later. In high school, you big score, 15 points a game, 2.5 rebounds, 4 assists. You had 2.8 roughly, I think is what it said, as a freshman at Lewisburg. Number one, welcome to the Storm family. We're glad you're here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What played into your decision to transfer here?
Well, coming from a winning school, you know, winning program at a high school, going 30-2, I wanted to win. So I think Davidson-Davie was the best option for me.
A lot of former players have said there's just something different about playing basketball here at Davidson-Davie. If you can reflect a little bit on your experience at Lewisburg, give us your perspective on what's so different about Storm basketball versus other JUCO programs.
Well, for one, you got to get in shape. You got to be in shape to come here. You know, I feel like other college programs are not running. They're not putting as much work in as we do on and off the court. So I feel like Lewisburg, you know, it wasn't as hard working as it is here.
Have you learned anything different about yourself coming here?
Defense. Defense.
What's your relationship with Coach Ridge?
Coach Ridge,
Pretty
you
good.
know, he'll joke and laugh with you, but it's all love. You know, he'll make jokes, but at the end of the day, he wants you to be the best version of yourself. So,
Now, we talk a lot about Coach Ridge. What about the other coaches, Allen and Coach Dumas?
Coach Allen, Coach Dumas, you know, they do the same thing. They push you to the next level. You know, they want you to get better at what you're doing and what you're supposed to be doing on and off the court. So, yeah.
So your first year here, but again, we talked about your experience at the collegiate level.
Yes, sir.
What do you see your role on this team as?
My role on the team is take advantage of any moment you can. Step up when the opportunity comes, take advantage of it.
So maybe your answer is going to be a little different than Tyler's. How much time do you put into working on your game, and what does that look like for you?
Well, I try to get up at least 500 to 1,000 shots a day, you know, before I go to class or after I go to class. And then I try to get into work in the weight room, get stronger.
What's your strength? What do you bring to the team?
I feel like I can score the ball at a high level, and I look to pass more. I try to work on that more. It's not just scoring. As a point guard, you got to pass, be a facilitator. So, yeah.
So, same question I asked Tyler. What were your thoughts as you watched the last 13 seconds of that Henry Ford game?
I knew we weren't gonna lose from the jump. I know we weren't gonna lose. I had faith in my boy Aiden over there. You feel me? A little pass, yeah. He made the right play. DJ Suggsy knocked it down for the win.
I thought the same thing when I saw DJ that open, and Aiden get the ball in his hands, I was like, there's no way he can miss. I
Right.
mean, I was never even nervous about it, so I'm sure
As
you
much
guys
work
weren't
as
either.
much work as he put in on that gun, he should not miss.
So, what do you think about this team so far?
We coming together great, you know. At first, we ain't really have much team bonding, you know. We hang out, we try to hang out outside the court, try to get to know each other better. And yeah,
So you have, what are your goals after you leave DDCC?
get to a 4-year, get to that next level, you know. Try to play, get to the collegiate level, do the best I can.
Put the work in. Put the work in would be the advice. Same question I asked Tyler. Any pregame rituals that you go through, and do you have a nickname other than B?
Pre-game rituals, you know, I got to get some good eats in my system, good food in my system. Get a little nap in. We can't sleep on the bus, though, so I do that before we get on the bus.
Is there a go-to food for you?
McDonald's.
Okay.
McDonald's, get you a quarter-pounder meal with no onions, no pickles, just ketchup with a large sweet tea. And my nickname, as you know, if you know, you know, I go by So ICB. That's what they gave me in high school. And, yeah.
All right, good deal. Well, good luck the rest of the way,
Yes,
Baron.
sir.
We'll be
Thank
following you. Be forward to watching you play. Baron Williams, nice, well-spoken young man, as was Tyler Johnson. Very, very good interviews. All right, Coach. Coach stepping back in. Let's see.
And Dr. Brown and Tyler and Barron all were well-spoken.
Absolutely.
Appreciate Dr. Brown making time to come out tonight away from his family. He's a good friend of mine. He was chair of the committee that hired me to be the athletic director, and he does a lot behind the scenes for a lot of different groups on campus, and athletics is no different. He's very encouraging, and I appreciate him more than he probably knows.
Well, let's talk real quick about some upcoming games we've got on our schedule. We finally got a home game coming up Saturday, 2 p.m. here, Southwest Virginia. What does that look like for us?
Well, Southwest is much improved. They got a new head coach, running different stuff than they ran in the past. They're huge. They had a 6'10" kid that's averaging almost a double-double. They've got some really good guards, one of which we recruited here from Charlotte area. Played at Rocky River High School, and he's averaging 20-plus points a game. So it's going to be another good test for us at home. They're much better than their record, a lot like Montgomery was. So our guys cannot come in here thinking that we can just show up and win because we got Davidson across our chest.
Wednesday, you're on the road. Lewisburg, a team I think you guys are tied with for the conference lead.
Yep.
That's going to be a tough one too.
Yep. Coach Bagwell's done another good job, got a lot of talent. So we're excited about that game, but we're certainly not looking over Southwest, for this Saturday.
Well, after Lewisburg, we take a holiday break before that January 3rd game here against Sandhills. We're looking forward to that. What does your Christmas break schedule look like?
A lot of recruiting, Christmas high school events. You can see 7, 8, 9, 10 teams in one day. Spend a lot of time with my girls and my wife, and hopefully get charged up for the stretch run. January, February, March is where memories are made, and there's nothing like winning in the postseason.
Well, I noticed that Zaire Sims got to play a little bit at Chapel Hill. I saw he got some minutes. He didn't play last night. So my question to you is, how is the team? I know his health. How's the team, the rest of the team from a health perspective?
Well, like you said, Zaire's still nursing that ankle injury, but Caleb Walker, one of our better red shirts, has not practiced this season because of a back injury, and he can really shoot it. We're excited about him coming back after Christmas break, hopefully. Jordis went to the doctor yesterday. He'll start practicing again on Monday. And Mike Wade and DJ aren't really injured, but they are sick. DJ played limited minutes last night, and Mike did not travel. So hopefully these guys will get over this sickness soon because we certainly need them.
Well, in the spirit of family, we got a lot of Storm alumni that are playing at the next level. And I know I think maybe you had a chance recently to go see a couple of them play against one another. Highlight for our listeners where the athletes are right now, where our family are, and how they're doing.
So Javion's absolutely killing it at Catawba, as many people know. I think they're 3-1. He's averaging 15 and 7 rebounds and an amazing 5 0.8 steals per game, led the whole entire country last year in NCAA Division II schools in steals, was the newcomer of the year for the entire SAC league. I mean, just absolutely killing it. Zy Dawkins, which Dr. Brown mentioned, is not just the best guard at Converse, but some people say he's the best guard in that entire Carolinas conference. He's absolutely killing it, averaging around 20 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, 4.2 assists. And then you got Tim Boulware playing right up the road at Greensboro College, doing really well, averaging 10 and 6. L.J. Rogers doing really well, averaging around 9 points a game at Leeds-McRae. Jonathan Faust is off to a great junior year at Lynchburg. And as Dr. Brown mentioned, Aaron Ross and Keith Reese Jr. are doing well at Shawan, and Jaheim and Chase at LR. So we got lots of guys playing in a lot of different schools. And if you go way back, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, we have players that played here that are playing overseas professionally. Kyle Ridley was playing overseas this past year, and I think he's going back. And we have a few other guys that have been playing in the last few years.
It's great to see those young men doing so well, and it's fun. I mean, it's fun to follow and track them. I mean, I do. By the way, if you want to see a local player play, I think Tim Boulware is going to be playing Sunday in the Greensboro Coliseum. I think Greensboro's
Guilford College.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I think I know somebody that might be there.
I'm traveling, so no.
Okay.
No, but Tim will be there. So if you want to go check him out in the big Coliseum, do that.
Well, one of the things that I'm honestly really super proud of is that not just the number of our student athletes, basketball players that have moved on and gotten a free education at a 4-year, but they're not just moving on and sitting on that bench. Like Dr. Brown, a lot of them are that guy. They're playing a lot, and in some cases the best player on their team at the 4-year level. So super proud of these guys, and it's a testament to their character and their love for the game because they just keep getting better. I mean, Zy Dawkins he's a great example of someone who eats, sleeps, and drinks basketball like Javion and LJ, as you well know, And he just keeps getting better because his commitment of putting in work, as we talked about with Tyler earlier, outside of practice. I mean, Zy lives in the gym. He eats, sleeps, and drinks it, can't live without it. And those are the kind of guys I love to coach, guys that just want to keep getting better, and they love the process, the lifting the weights, the shooting 1,000 shots a day, the film, et cetera. Because those are the guys that will give you the best shot to win a national championship.
I mean, that Converse team is a young program, and they're undefeated, I think, this year. So that's
well, their coach told me that he thought that Zy was the best guard in their entire league.
Phenomenal. I still got to get that Zy Dawkins jersey. So I know he's got them on sale. All right. So none of this could happen, Coach. None of the experience on game day here in the gym. None of this program could happen without your sponsors, and you've got a lot of folks that help support Storm Athletics, Storm Basketball, and the women's volleyball. Talk a little bit about them real quick, if you would, before we wrap it up.
Well, we always mention the top sponsors, the Todd Hunts, the Josh Hill, the Justin Strickland, the Fidelity Mohawk Industries. But there's so many other people like yourself that have given money to our athletic program, and I'd like to thank them also. I also, outside of the realm of sponsors, because without them we couldn't do what we do, I also want to thank people like yourself, like Patrick Stevens, Brandon Mullis, that give time, like day in and day out, countless hours behind the scenes that make us the basketball family that we are. I especially want to highlight a young man that's helped us for the last 5 or 6 years, Tristan Wells, who unfortunately cannot help us going forward because of his job and his commitment with his job at Thomasville Buses. But he's been a very dependable young man that has done countless jobs behind the scenes for multiple years and done it all with a smile on his face. So, Tristan, if you're listening, we love you and appreciate you, and we're going to certainly miss you, but we really appreciate all that you've done for us behind the scenes.
Next game's going to be Saturday right here at Brinkley Gym against Southwest Virginia at 2 o'clock. Next coaches show, we think it's going to be December 20th. I think you were telling me we might want to.
Yeah, we'll check that, but I think so.
So Wednesday, December 20th for now, 7 p.m. We invite you to come out for that. And I want to thank you, Coach, of course, Dr. Brown, for coming out and doing this. Tyler and Barron for coming in and doing the interviews. Patrick for his work, and Brandon Mullis is on camera tonight. this is always a lot of fun, and with that, I also want to thank our listeners and viewers. A lot of comments tonight, which is fantastic. And I'll give you the final word and let you wrap it up.
Two things. Number one, I like you said, thank Dr. Brown. We have an unbelievable administrative team here at Davidson-Davie. Keep Laura Yarborough in your prayers. Her mother passed away. But we do have, as many people know, a new president, and that's Miss Jenny Varner, and super excited for her to have this opportunity. She certainly has earned that opportunity, and I know she's going to lead us to new heights. And I'd like to thank the administration for giving me this opportunity to be the head basketball coach and athletic director here, because I absolutely love this school. I love working here and love the relationships that I've got with people like yourself, and just so appreciative of everybody that is a part of this basketball family, because it truly is just that, a family.
Well, that's what I say as well. Saturday, come out here, Brinkley Gym, 2 o'clock for the game. Watch some super athletes play. This is a fantastic program. We want to thank the team for being here tonight, and, of course, our Storm viewers. We'll see you again Saturday.
2 p.m. Saturday. Pack Brinkley, 2 p.m., not 3.
Go Storm.